Hey, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, whoever you are, wherever you are. Welcome to the Just Stop It Show. This is yours truly, the Grand Queen, coming at you tonight. Happy Sunday. Yeah, we're at the end of the month already. Already, we're at the end of the month, and we're still celebrating Women's History Month. Um, well, tomorrow is the end of the month, but here we are almost at the last day. Um, yeah, we made it, you know, 31 days of March and weather and circumstances of so many of a kind, so many different circumstances that we came through for this month. But anyway, we're here. You're here. Glad to see you. Glad to have you. For those who are watching tonight, those who are about to watch, or those who will watch the downloaded podcast. Again, we're celebrating women. We're celebrating Women's History Month, and yeah, it's been a real whirlwind. And we're also celebrating. Actually, we're celebrating. Well, we're taking it up a notch. We're celebrating. This was Women's International History Month as well. Should I say Women's International History Month, Women's Month? I just say Women's Month. Um, we're unmasking tonight. We're unmasking hazing, mental health, the mental health toll, rural versus city areas, and women. Does hazing affect? Who does it affect? Women and men. We're going to talk about who it affects, and we're going to tie in the impact of daylight savings time. So again, tonight we're unmasking hazing, the mental health toll, rural versus city, women, and daylight savings time. I know you guys are saying, wow, that's a lot going on, Grand Queen. But however, there's a lot going on. And daylight savings time has an impact on all of us. Some of us like it, some of us don't. I'm going to just delve into, just talk about some of the things that maybe we're not paying attention to. Maybe just need to, pay attention to it and keep an eye on it and see how it affects us, if it affects us or affects you, anybody, you, me, he, she, they, we, whatever. If it affects you, how to unmask the effects of how to unmask the effects of hazing and the impact it has on men and women and daylight savings time, particularly hazing in college. Hazing in college. I mean, it happens middle school, high school, and college. But we're going to talk about the effects of it, the mental health toll on college people, on college students, and yeah, and daylight savings time. The impact of hazing, daylight savings time, and how it happens, the gender aspects among men and women. So tonight, again, it's not about gender. We're talking about the impact among men and women, right? And how daylight savings time takes a toll on us, as well as hazing takes a toll on those who engage, right? Well, you don't, it's not like you want to. I'm just saying, don't get it twisted. It's for those who it's happened to. You want to understand the experience, and whatever's happening, it's got to stop. For some people, it's a tradition, but it's got to stop. It's taking a mental health toll on rural and city areas. So this is why we got to stop it. We got to stop it. And we're going to talk about how it happens among women. So yeah, and higher ed institutions, and what are they doing to stop it? So yeah, again, this is yours truly, the Grand Queen, coming at you tonight. This is the Just Stop It show, where we just stop the nonsense, where we make mental health a priority, where we make it our business to help you to make it your business to make mental health a priority in your life, and where we address it among families across generations. We address it And we discuss it and we bring it to the table as a safe space for ages 16 to 26, but not limited to those ages. This is a platform for everybody, right? Again, this is a safe space, and we're looking forward to collaborating and getting together with more community leaders to create a safe space where you can utilize it in more places across the globe, in your local communities, in your at the workplace. We want to be able to be accessible because mental health services should be accessible. In rural areas, there is very little accessibility when it comes to mental health services, and we want to be able to change that mindset. We want to be able to shift that mindset and become accessible to everybody. Present this to even particularly also to CEOs, to those in the workplace, to workers in the workplace, municipal workers, to it doesn't matter what agency you work for or work with. You need a mental health platform. You need a platform where you can not just vent, but where you can talk about it and find some resolve within uh, your conversation. Start the conversation and have links of support to help you to find resolve. This is what we're about. Simple, but not basic. So, yeah. So here we are. Before we get started, just a little friendly reminder. The information in my videos are not intended nor implied to be a substitute for professional advice, for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. This is not a medical board. This is not a medical advisory board. All content, including text, graphics, images, information contained in my videos is for informational purposes and for you to make sure you do your due process and add on to that information so it can help point you in the right direction, meet you before the crisis. And if you have a crisis, hopefully it will give you the kind of hope that you need and stabilize. So again, if this is for informational purposes and cannot replace a consultation with your own doctor or health professional. All right. So here we are tonight at the Just Stop It show, unmasking hazing. This is a serious topic for some people. Um, there are some people who may not uh, think that hazing has anything to do with them, but hazing has a lot to do. Well, there may be some who may beg to differ and say, wow, what does hazing have to do with me? What do I need to talk about hazing? We all have family members, or we all have been to college, or we are going to college, or we are attending college. We have children maybe who is in middle school, high school, and college. We have friends, family relatives in middle school, high school, and college. Higher ed. Tonight, we're going to talk about the aspects of higher ed and how things happen in rural versus city areas when it comes to hazing and how daylight savings time affects that kind of bad behavior. So, yeah, so please like, subscribe, and, you know, like and subscribe in the chat. You guys can chat with me live at JTire one at YouTube, at JTire Form 1 at YouTube. So again, you guys can go, I'm live at JTire at YouTube at JTire Form 1, JIJTIREFORM, the number 1, JTire Form at YouTube, JTire Form 1 at YouTube. So, and if you don't get a chance to join me live, please don't hesitate to subscribe, like, and leave a comment at JTire Form 1. I would love to hear from you. I need to hear your experience on this. I need you to share your experience on hazing and higher ed and more, because we're going to get into it a little bit more. So just a little scripture vibe for you tonight. And again, good evening, good morning, good night to all those who are passing through tonight. This is the Just Stop It show with yours truly, the Grand Queen. So check this. Check your mind on this. This is a head vibe for you tonight. No test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. All you need to remember is that God will never let you down. He'll never let you be pushed past your limit. He'll always be there to help you to come through it. Right? Hey, that says a lot. That's coming from the Message Version Bible, 1 Corinthians 10:13. Now let's get into hazing. I guess some of you are saying, like, what in the hooty hoot is she talking about? What does uh what is that? What does that vibe have to do with what we're talking about tonight? Well, many things happen to us that is beyond the course of what others have had to face. Listen to that part. No test or temptation that comes your way is beyond the course of what others have had to face. Stuff happens. Sometimes you can't stop it. Unlike our motto is just stop it. Sometimes you can't stop it at the moment, but it can be stopped somewhere along the line. But there's nothing that has happened to us beyond the course of what others have had to face. And it's not to be taken lightly. It's how we face it, where we face it, when we face it. Even though we are pushed to the limit, there's always a support system. There's always a strategy. There's always a technique and time and divine intervention of God in Christ that will help you and meet you in that limited place and help you to become unlimited in strategies and tools to help you to face what you need to face today, tomorrow, and more. You've got to come through it. You came to that spot. You've got to come through it, and he'll help you to get through it and get to it and get with it. That's another one of our mottos. So, yeah, hazing. Let's get to this. Hazing in higher ed has a significant and often devastating effect. Anybody, if you've ever been through hazing, what's your story? What's your experience on hazing? For some, it's a ritual. It is a ritual. It is a ritual that, for some, it's a part of your ability to get into a club. It's a part of your ability. You have to prove yourself to be a part of this particular fraternity or organization. Um, it's an initiation, simply put. But again, it's a part of a ritual to see how far you will go to push you to a limit where you shouldn't have been in the first place. Right? So some of those limits have an effect. Those limits can have an effect on your mental health. Victims frequently experience PTSD. If anybody knows anything about post traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, depression, anxiety, and substance abuse, be it alcohol or drugs. The emotional toll. Tonight, we're going to talk about the emotional toll of hazing. The emotional toll that it is taken on women and men. Now, I guess I haven't heard much about hazing among higher ed for women. I haven't heard much about it. I've heard more about for females, for girls in middle school and high school. I've heard how hazing has affected them, but not as the stats is not as high as it is among adults. But it doesn't mean it's not there. And it doesn't mean that women are not equally affected as men are. The information is there. Why do we need to pay attention to it? Because of its emotional toll that is taking on men and women in this society. Now, what can it lead to? The emotional toll. What can it lead to? It can lead to social withdrawal, feelings of helplessness. Now, you're already going through that as a young person. You're already going through that as an adult. Adulting, when you're coming into young adulthood, you're already going through enough adolescent. Your adolescent journey is already, heavy enough as it is. But now you're talking about you're an adult, and you got to be a part of this. You believe that you need to be a part of this that you can get through this hazing experience, or you know about it, you heard about it, and you would take the chance to be a part of that because you know you want to be initiated, you want to be a part of this club. However, there's some who don't want to be a part of it, and they have been victims of hazing. There's some who believed who were forced into hazing. So every situation is different. And again, the devastating effects and the scars that it leaves is it's just it's a heavy toll on your emotions because it is a part of emotional abuse. Now, you got to be like serious narcissists. You got to have serious narcissistic tendencies to hate somebody. I'm just saying. Not to say that's the overall cause, but you got to have some kind of little narc tendencies to do that to somebody. I mean, that just doesn't happen on willy-nilly. And you know, the humiliation of it all, the physical and again the emotional abuse, the long lasting scars, the deep embedded scars that it leaves on that victim. Now here's some fact checks. Statistics reveals that over half of college students, that's 55%, that's a lot. Now it didn't we want to talk about rural versus city. Well, this is just general stats. 55% of students involved in sports, clubs, or social organizations have experienced hazing. Now, if you've experienced, please um, leave, subscribe, like, and leave a comment at JTire Form 1 and tell me, share with me your experience about hazing. And what did you do to resolve it? What did your family members, because this affects the community, it affects family members, it affects the next generation. And you know, organizations are getting in on this thing too. So again, social organizations, we're talking about, you know, sports clubs, social organizations have experienced hazing. So members of Greek life, such as fraternities and sororities, as well as college sports teams and among other affected groups. Um, Now, if the groups I have not mentioned, please mention them at JTire Forum 1 on YouTube. Please mention those groups. This is a safe space. This is a democracy. We're talking about bringing more knowledge to the table and a resolve to the table for those who are thinking, maybe they're thinking about, hey, I want to join this frat, I want to join this club, you know, and I know what they do to get in there. You understand? But no doubt you need more information. No doubt you need more information to help you to make a safer decision, not just to make a decision that would place you in danger, that would place you understand, in a compromising position. So we want to help take that compromising, we want to help shift that compromising position into the right position of safety so you won't become at risk. This is why we're having this conversation tonight. We need to continue to have more conversations to help one another to just stop it, to not become at risk for ourselves, to take the labels off of ourselves, to help us not to become at risk within our communities. So yeah, that's just one statistic. And again, I mentioned before, alcohol, the effects of alcohol. You know, hazing incidents often involve forced alcohol. You know, you got to go a quart of vodka. You got to go a quart of, I don't know what they're drinking these days, but you know, the hardcore stuff. You got to go through the most humiliating um, scenario and the most strenuous, over the top physical and emotional abuse. So the perception of hazing. Now, this is from an article. This is like the perception. We want to change a mindset, shift the mindset of hazing. The perception of hazing seems important. It is important because it provides insight and student expectations. of group membership. What is your expectation in the group that you're about to join? It doesn't matter what college it is. It doesn't matter what middle school, what high school it is, particularly high school and higher ed, college. What is the, it could be the college band. It could be joining the band and you're going to have to get hazed. What is the purpose? What will you gain from that before, during, and after? Talk to yourself about that one. Talk with somebody about it who's been through it so you can gain some insight, hindsight, and foresight and live your life safely and live through things safely. So you will have a story to share. So you'll be able to write new pages of history. So yeah, student expectations of group membership in the context of higher ed and how students define hazing and understand its place in college life. What is college life like for you concerning hazing? What is that? How can that increase the how can that help you to do better? How can it, what is it, hazing? How can it help you to get through your college life? Please, somebody go to JTire Forum 1 at YouTube and like, subscribe, and share your experience. Share your thoughts on that. I need to hear from you. Now, the perception, uh, it happens, hazing happens, and the perception has to do with social. It has to do with the social interconnect and the power dynamics related to gender, according to Allen and Kinney study of 2017. Allen and Kinney study. The connection is the power dynamics that's related to gender, race, socio-emotional, socio-economical stats, and identity. So again, it's related to this hazing is interrelated. It intersects with the power dynamics of gender, race, socioeconomic status. So in other words, hazing for some might increase his or her social economic status. They made it through. Maybe they're going to get some type of credit, some not credit, but some type of incentive after they pass through this ritual. Maybe they're going to get, because it's a power play. Power dynamics, simply power play. Maybe he or she, again, their social status is going to raise up in their during their college life and after their college life. They're going to create a whole new identity. Um, it has to do with race. It depends. Black, Anglo, Hispanic, Asian. It depends. It has to do with race. So, how does daylight savings time tie into hazing? Well, first of all, it doesn't cause hazing. So for those of you who are saying, hey, is does does D does DST cause hazing? No, not at all. We're talking about the effects of it, hazing and daylight savings time, how it interrupts the sleep pattern, right? It can exasperate your a mental health issue. Now, if you're already having a mental health issue, you passed through, you've been humiliated uh, from a hazing incident, you've been victimized, you're a victim of hazing. You could be passing through drug and alcohol abuse. You could be having PTSD symptoms. You could be deeply depressed. You understand? So in comes DST, daylight savings time, interrupting your sleep because you might be experiencing sleep deprivation. You might be experiencing, again, depression, anxiety. It is linked to it. Seasonal affective disorder, sadness. Seasonal affective disorder, sadness. Oh, these types of disruptions could worsen the whole thing. It could worsen your supposedly best experience, college life experience. It could ruin the whole thing. It could just turn south. It could just mess you up, right? Now we talk. Now, how could it mess you up? We're talking about the aftermath of hazing, not just the initial, the aftermath of hazing. You've got to say something. You've got to have some conversations. If you're thinking about it, talk with the right people about it. Don't talk with the person who's gonna haze you. Don't talk with the narcissist who gonna haze you. I'm just saying, right? Because it's pressure upon pressure. It's pressure on the frat members. It's pressure on the fraternity leaders. It's pressure on the organizations. But somebody has to become accountable. Somebody has to become accountable and do the right thing. As my man Spike Lee says, do the right thing. His movie. Somebody need to watch that over and over again. You'll get a whole bunch of clarity to what I'm talking about here. Watch that movie. Do the right thing. Spike Lee joint. So yeah, now let's get into city versus rural areas. In rural areas, hazing may be less reported, but it doesn't mean that it's not there. I mentioned that earlier. It may be less reported. You know, nobody may not say as much as uh, in city areas because of limited access to mental health services. And it's true. In rural areas, it's limited access to mental health sources, resources, and services. That is the whole issue in rural areas. Access. Limited access. In the city, unlimited access. I'm just saying. So, in a smaller rural community, the victims, what are they going to be? They're going to be afraid. They're going to be scared to be, not to say that this that the stigmas and retaliation doesn't happen in the city. You have more support. You definitely have more support, but it doesn't mean it's not there, that you won't be stigmatized or there won't be a retaliation in the city. It does happen. I've heard stories. The thing is, again, in rural areas versus urban, there's not enough accessibility. And in urban areas, resources are more available. And the sheer size and diversity of institutions can make it harder to monitor in rural areas. You know, institutions in the cities, they're bigger. Colleges are huger in rural areas. However, who are the go-to people? Who are the mentors? Who are the counselors that you can go to and discuss it in a safe space and have the links of support to keep you in a safe space without retaliation and stigmatization. So, gender differences. Women are not necessarily the most affected, but it doesn't mean it's not there. They have experienced hazing differently. Female hazing often involves psychological manipulation. Now it's there. Now that's I've seen that among women. It's a type of mental manipulation, particularly women in a band, in a college band. They want to join the college band. They want to join the college, whatever. But most women like to join the band. They like to join the whatever in the college, the musical band. So when they join the band, and it could be a highly noted college, and hazing goes on. And for women, uh, it happens to them differently. So again, it's psychological manipulation for women, social pressure, and appearance-based criticism. That part, which can lead to what? Anxiety, low self-esteem, body image disorders. So the contrast is males experience hazing more physically. Males experience uh, hazing, and in their involvement is physical endurance tasks, binge drinking, and violence, which can result in what? Physical injury and substance abuse. But for women, it's still equally bad. No one is no better than the other. It's equally bad for women because that emotional manipulation, that psychological manipulation, can take a heavy and equally heavy toll on the emotional self. Emotional abuse is equally as dangerous as the physical abuse. It's equally as dangerous because of what it, the effects of it, what it leads to among women. So women, young girls, young women, say something to the right person. Say something. If you've been hazed, if you are thinking about joining uh, a club, if you're thinking about joining something and you've heard about the hazing practices, you got to make the right decision and talk. If you do join, if and you've had these, you've been victimized, you've got to say something for the healing process. You've got to say something for the benefits of you having to heal properly. You know, maybe there were some people who unalived themselves after the hazing incident. Maybe it was a friend, maybe it was a relative. Maybe you think you could do it better. I don't know. Sometimes as a people, as a human, we think, hey, just because it happened, but I could do it better. That's not going to happen to me. Uh-uh. What do I know? What do we know? What could and could not happen? We just have to stop it and ensure that we have the best experience in life. And as I said earlier, some things you can't stop, but you can change it. You can change the effects. You can stop the effects of it. And this is why we are here. Just stop it. Go to YouTube at JTire Form 1 at YouTube. Subscribe, like and subscribe, and tell me about your experience. Please share. I like to hear from the females and the males. I like to hear from everybody who has, I don't know if you had a friend, a relative, somebody in the community, or a whole kit and caboodle of school. I don't know. A bunch of people have been through this hazing. I would like to hear from everybody and anybody on this hazing incident and what was the resolve? What did you do? How did it get fixed? Is it a big problem? Has the problem of hazing become worse in the institution, in the community? Is your community aware? Are they doing something about it? Please reach out at JTire Form 1, JTIRE FORM, the number 1, at what? YouTube. Just stop it. We would love to just stop it. We'd love to hear from you. So yeah, and articles. I'm going to put some articles for you to share in the when you go back to download this video. I'm going to put in 3 articles about hazing in college, long-term psychological effects, and gender perspectives on hazing. I'm going to put those 3 links there for you to use as a heads up and to head you off from hazing, and also to give you a new perspective. If you have been a victim, hopefully this will help you. Hopefully it will help you. And please share the things that I've shared with you that have brought hope to you. I like to know because that brings hope to me. That helps me to know what I need to do better. That helps me to know what I can do better. I don't pretend to know anything. What do I know? I just want to know what you know on how to better life. I want to know what you know, how to share it, and how to help lean on each other. I just want to lean on you so we can lean on each other, should I say, right? What the song said, lean on me, right? When you're in trouble. That's just a little bit of it. But lean. We've got to learn as a community how to lean on each other. And that makes for great leadership. That makes for great followings, right? When I see you, I see me. When I see me, I see you, right? So here we are, unmasking hazing. So again, I'm going to share those 3 articles with you. And so we can just stop the abuse. It's just bananas. And it's like, I want to find out like the history of hazing is, God, it goes way back. Hazing goes way, way back, and it's time to stop that tradition. It's a tradition. Nobody talks about it as a tradition as well, and it's a wicked one at that. It's unhealthy, and it just needs to stop. It has nothing to do. I mean, like, come on, if you want to show your resilience, if the members of the frat or the members of the club need to show their resilience, do it differently, not harmfully. Do it differently and not harmfully, especially when it takes a toll on your emotional health. So, yeah, this is yours truly, the Grand Queen, coming at you. And we'll be back on Wednesday at the pit stop. Uh, yeah, it'll be April, a new month. What they said, March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. Hey, and bringing April showers. So I hope that you have a good week pass through on Wednesday. I hope that you have a phenomenal Monday, a phenomenal night. How about that? You know, we all up in Monday, but how about having a phenomenal night, a phenomenal evening, uh, wherever you are, whoever you are. Much love, peace, and joy. And also give a shout out to each other. Do a little check in with your friends and family members. You know, check them out during the week and things. You never know. They could be going through hazing, they could have been a victim of hazing. Check it out. Create a safe space to have a conversation about hazing, particularly among college uh, college folks. College folks, you've got a lot behind you and you've got a lot ahead of you. And hazing should not be a part of your journey. And if it is, and it has become, then it's time to get the support that you need to heal and understand that you've got to have the best college life experience ever and beyond after college, right? I love you like no other, as God does. Come back Wednesday at our mental health check. Don't forget, check with each other, find out about that hazing, and go to and share with me and like, subscribe, and share your thoughts with me at JTire Form 1 at YouTube. Much love, peace, and joy.